What's up, y'all? It's Miles the Millennial,
And it's your boy Rex Howard Jr.
and this is Let's Talk Like Men, the podcast where we have real conversations about real topics, providing real advice to men like you everywhere. And we're back again with another episode today. Rex, how are you feeling, brother?
Brother, I'm blessed and highly favored. I say that every single week, but I really do feel it.
Yeah.
A lot of things moved in my direction. I recently started my morning meetup for men.
Yes.
And, we started with 2 guys, and just 7 days later, we're up to 22 guys.
That's
The
amazing.
conversation flows, the accountability flows, the prayer flows. So it's absolutely amazing. So if you're out there, you need some extra accountability, and you're a man, all you got to do is go to Instagram and go to my bio and join the morning meetup. Answer 2 questions, and you're good. It's a free group, and we'll actually have it attached to the YouTube channel as well. So
Absolutely.
just keep us posted.
Guys, I'm in the group. The morning meetup is amazing. It always gets me started on my days at 7 a.m. Central Times, and it gets me right. I go into any gig, any opportunity, any school feeling refreshed and focused from my day, and just in community with brothers. So it is definitely an amazing group to be a part of. And make sure you get a part of it now. Don't wait till later, because I can't guarantee you what it's going to look like in the future, because it's growing so fast.
No, facts. How are you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good, man. God is just teaching me to be obedient, right? And you've been exemplifying that with your morning meetup. And there are things in my life that I've been holding back on launching, holding back on putting out in the world, and I just need to be obedient, because I know God is going to show me how good it can get when I'm obedient to Him. So, I'm just excited, man. I'm excited because everything I'm going through is a part of a journey, and I feel like I'm getting to a break point, like a very big break point where it's like, bro, God is shaking, things are about to shake. So
Yes, sir.
I just got to put my best foot forward.
Absolutely. It's going to happen.
Well, I'm excited, man, because today we're going to continue a conversation that we've had over the past few weeks on our Little Things series, right? This series is about the little things that make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
We started off with the little things that every man needs from his woman.
Yeah.
Then we talked about the little things that a woman is going to need from her man.
Yeah.
Right? Then last week we talked about the little things that cause relationships to fail.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are the things that get in the way and cause something so good to go bad? Now, this week we're going to talk about something personal to the men, which is your development.
Yeah.
What are the little things that allow a man to develop?
100%.
We have to have this conversation. It's so important. And Rex, I want you to tell the people why it's important for us to have a conversation about the little things that will allow men to develop in the first place.
Man, absolutely. Because think about it. We're human beings, right?
Yeah.
God created us to be creative. He created us to be leaders, right? And we can't lead if we're never learning. We can't lead if we're not developing. We can't lead if we're not growing.
Yeah.
So the reason why this episode is so important is because a lot of us find ourselves stuck. I get people all the time that say, hey, Rex, how do I get unstuck? Or, hey, Rex, how do I get to the next level? Hey, Rex, how do I change my mindset? And it's all about adapting. It's all about growing. And it's all about seeking new information from new people and from new places and new resources.
Yeah.
Because if you don't seek this information, you're going to remain the same. And if you remain the same, nothing in your life is going to change.
Absolutely.
Right? You may live a life of purposelessness or meaninglessness. And that right there leads a man to different disorders, different behaviors, and just complete isolation and ultimately loneliness.
Yeah.
So the importance of this episode is to help the brothers out there that finds himself feeling stuck, that doesn't really know where to start, that doesn't really know which direction to take. And we're going to give you 6 things to do today that you can apply now that can help you get to next level.
Absolutely. It's all about the little things if you brothers want change. So that's the conversation we're going to have today.
Yes, sir.
So without further ado,
Hey,
let's talk like men. All right, let's get into our hot topic of today. Well, this is a really powerful video that we saw at the end of last week. I sent it over to Rex and wanted to hear his thoughts, and we had a real good conversation about it, and we want to talk about it here. Young Jock, right? Somebody who we grew up listening to, has some legendary songs, married, has kids, has a past like everybody does, and was in an interview with his wife. And she made a comment in it where she said, I wouldn't want my kids to be like you, right? I wouldn't want our sons to be like you, to be the man you are, right? And it really harmed him.
Yeah.
His response was clearly what I saw was a man that was hurt, right, by those comments, because he's done so much in his eyes to be a better man than who he was. And to hear those words come out of his wife's mouth really hurt him.
Yeah.
And he seemed very triggered. He definitely responded back to her, and they went back and forth about what to say, what not to say, about the fact that he wouldn't get on a platform and ever say that about her. Even if he felt that way, he would never get on a platform and say it about her. And so it brings up a conversation about how you speak on your partner in public, the things you allow to come out your mouth on public platforms, around people, communities, and around family and friends. And I want to know your thoughts, Rex. Was she wrong to say her truth in that moment? How should you navigate the things that you want to say about your partner when you're in public? How do you even navigate it when you're on this show?
Absolutely. I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong answer, but I'm going to say, first of all, you want to be with somebody that you think very highly of,
Yeah,
right? You want to be with somebody that you respect. You want to be with somebody that you love on their good days and on the bad days. If you're a woman and you're wanting to be with a man, you want to be with a man that embodies the qualities that you want in your son, because this is the person that's training them.
yeah,
You want him to be a good father, to show your daughter the love that she needs so she can go and look for that in other men. So if you are with a person that you don't even think highly of, then that's already a red flag in itself.
yeah,
But when it comes to speaking on your partner in public, yes, you want to be very mindful and cognizant of how you address them, how you speak to them, how you project your voice to them, how you even answer certain questions about them, because you don't want them to feel disrespected.
Yeah.
And then you also don't want to put the world in your business, into your relationship, because anybody that watched that 60-second clip that was on Instagram shows that, okay, there's no respect in this relationship. There's a little bit of love in this relationship. There's a lot of resentment in this relationship. And one might even say that relationship don't even look like it's going to last.
yeah.
Right. And that's just based on you being so open about your relationship.
Absolutely.
So I think people should be cognizant of how they approach their partner, how they talk to their partner, not only in public, but also in private as well.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. And I think it's one of those things where, like you said, you're very accurate. We can sit there and we're going to sit here and say, that don't sound like a relationship that's going to work. But we don't know what happens behind closed doors.
100%.
We don't know the growth that's taking place. We don't know how good the relationship is when it's not on camera. But the problem is, because you have now put that out to the world, and that's what people see, you have now given a representation that might not be accurate.
100%.
Now people's opinions and judgments get in the atmosphere. Now you got to fight a battle, not just between you and your partner and whatever problem that y'all are facing, but now you got problems from the world.
Yeah.
Right? Because the world is all in your business. The world is telling you guys to leave each other. And it only makes staying together and making a relationship work, it only makes it harder when everybody around you has their own opinions and doesn't want to see you guys win too.
Absolutely.
Now you fighting the world too, and you fighting whatever battle you and your partner are going through. So you have to be cognizant of that. And it's something that I've definitely faced before, because me and my lady are very opinionated people. And it's easy for us to be open and say things around people that the other partner is like, why would you tell people that? Right? You get back in the car and you're trying to figure out why this person is so quiet. And it's like, why would you tell them about this situation? Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't comfortable with you expressing it. But because you guys haven't set those boundaries before, and you're assuming that the other person knows what to say and what's not okay to say, you end up in situations where you're crossing one person's boundaries and you don't even realize it. And there was a conversation, even just a couple weeks ago, we were hanging out with a couple, the married couple that is kind of like mentors to us. We're very close with them. And we were over at their house and we were talking, but me and my lady were having a conversation about some personal stuff between us two. And they usually will come in and we'll have a conversation and everybody chimes in on it. But she was not comfortable with me speaking on this conversation publicly. Right. And so she had said, when she saw they were about to come back out, like, hey, can we, table this conversation for later? And I'm like, you sure? We usually have these conversations. Like, no. Like, I don't want to talk about it in front of them. I'm not comfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to respect that and we'll talk about it later, because I would rather you be comfortable, be in a space where we can have an effective conversation, than try to have this conversation right now and force it in front of people and nothing gets accomplished. Now your feelings are hurt, you feel disrespected, and we're fighting way more than the situation that was very simple in the first place to have.
No, facts. And there's a such thing as a good opinion, right? Or a good perspective. But if you allow the world to have voice in your relationship, or other humans to have a voice in your relationship before you can gather your own thoughts, your own beliefs, then their thoughts are now going to be your thoughts.
Exactly.
And what they think you should do with your relationship becomes what you think you should do with your relationship. So that's all about having a sense of self and also having agreements with your partner, saying, okay, what I'm expecting of this relationship when we go out into public, this is the conversations that I'm willing to have with other couples, and this is what's off the table.
Absolutely.
Right? But also think about it like this. Let's just say, you never met my lady, right?
Yeah.
And every single time I talked to you about her, I showed you something that was negative.
Exactly.
told you something that was negative. So in your mind, she's not a good person. You're like, man, my guy Rex is a good dude. He shouldn't be with nobody like that. So then I got all these negative things I've said about it. And then I say, hey, I want you to finally meet her.
Yeah.
You're not meeting her with an open mind, open heart. You're meeting her from the expectation that she's that negative person that I've been talking about.
Exactly.
So if you are on social media talking about your person in a negative way, always subtweeting or talking to your friends about your partner in a negative way, and you're not speaking life about them or to them, then you have the expectation for your friends to think negative about your partner.
Yep.
And the only thing that's going to make that better is a lot of time and your friends actually coming around and like, you know what, they actually aren't that bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so key. And then you wonder why your friends are always telling you to leave them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you give them to go off of? It's always something negative.
Yep.
You have to present something else about this person. You have to give them the opportunity to show who they are to the world before you tell the world who they are. It's not fair to them, especially when you're only bringing the negatives up. You need to be just as loud, if not louder, in your praise than you are for your criticism. And that's just the rule for me with anybody that I love. Is I'm gonna be louder in my praise for you than I am in my criticism of you, because it ain't fair to you that I will hop on you, chastise you, be so motivated to get on you about the negatives, but whenever you do something positive, I treat you like, oh, well, that's what you're supposed to do.
No, facts.
That's not fair to people, you know. So I think that is a good rule of thumb for people to live by when it comes to speaking on your partner.
Yeah.
Make sure you speak on the things that they're doing good as much, if not more, to those people that you complain to them about.
Yeah.
Or else you're really setting them up to be, you know, behind the eight ball before they even get a chance.
Yeah, before we go to the next thing, bro, think about what we do in this podcast. Think about, you know, there's many things that we could say about our partners.
Absolutely.
A guy that gave me some feedback on the podcast, he said, yo, Rex, you know, I can really tell that you and Miles are very strategic and methodical about what you share. And he was like, I can tell that y'all don't just share anything. Y'all share specific information that pushes the conversation forward.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what it's about. I said, we aren't here to bash our partners.
Yep.
We don't want to be bashed either.
Yep.
We're not here to throw dirt in it. Like, we have a relationship. Nothing is ever perfect. We're growing. We're developing. Yes, we fail sometimes in relationships, but we learn from those mistakes. And we're here to show you our failures.
Facts.
But we're not here to tell you about our partner's failures.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
I think that plays along with it.
Love it, man. Well, guys, ladies, if you're listening, that hot topic is definitely for you guys to carry with you, because it is very easy in today's world with social media. Everybody has a platform. Everybody has something facing the public. Be careful what you say and what you put out about the people that you care about, because you could be scarring them and not even realizing that what you're saying is hurting them.
100%.
All right, let's move on to our main topic, right? The little things that allow a man to develop, right? Men go through things in life. And you're going to be at points where you're at no longer serves you and you're ready to elevate.
Yep.
It's time for you to grow. It's time for you to mature. It's time for you to move forward. But it's hard to figure out how to do that if nobody's ever laid it out to you.
Yep.
Right? So today we're going to lay it out. Like Greg said, we got 6 points for you. And 3 from me, 3 from him.
Yeah.
And we are going to give you guys 6 tangible things that you can do that are going to allow you to develop into the man you want to become.
Right.
So, Rex, I want you to go into it with your first point.
Absolutely. The very first thing you can do to help you develop and become the man that God has created you to be is find a successful routine. Find something that you can stick with, right? There is success in routine. There's a habit in routine. There's commitment that comes with a routine. And to give you a perfect example, one of the things that I used to do before I started the morning meetup was I would go to bed around 12:30 or 1:30, right, in the morning, and then I'll wake up around 9:30 or 10. Right before I had to be to work, right before something happened, I would literally wake up, don't even brush my teeth, and hop on a call. Right, that doesn't prepare my mind, my body, or spirit, or anything. And then I would finally go to the office. When I got to the office, I would sit. While I had downtime, I would be on my phone. Right, except for doing things that's positive, be on my phone. Then I finally get home, I have a conversation with my lady. Then it's time for me to go to bed again.
Yeah.
Right, but before I go to bed, I'm doing my scrolling again.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, if I want to have better results, I have to change my routine. So now, in the morning, I'm waking up at 6:30.
Yeah.
Right, waking up at 6:30. I got 20 minutes to wake up, to say my prayer, to walk my dog, to brush my teeth, and then I hop on a call.
Yeah.
Right, to get guys motivated. And after that call, then I go to the coffee shop. And I read, right? I read a chapter a day of a couple books that I'm reading. So I read the chapter, and then I journal, So after I'm journaling, then I focus on my task for the day.
Yeah.
And then I schedule my social media time. So sometimes if I have downtime, I'll be on it, but sometimes I won't. So I'll do that. I'll schedule my calls. And then now I'm going to bed at 10:30, 10:45. So I'm setting myself up for success. I have something that's going to pour into me mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I'm reflecting on my past. So I'm continuously becoming a better person. I'm having conversations with like-minded individuals like yourself.
Yep.
I'm talking about what's coming next. What are my failures? What I feel like is keeping me stuck? Because that's my new routine.
Yeah.
And ever since I've been in this routine, man, going to the gym, reading, having good conversations, my body feels better, my energy feels better, my relationship is better. The podcast seems like it's flowing in a different type of direction because we're just on point.
Yeah.
So the very first thing I think every man should have is a successful, solid routine.
I love that, man, because the routine is everything.
Yeah.
You know, when you wake up every single day, there are a lot of variables that are going to take place, things that are just going to happen, right? For every single man, there are certain things you cannot prepare for. You get into the car, somebody done got into an accident today and it's putting you behind schedule.
Yeah.
You get to the office and you're dealing with some nonsense up there, a problem going on in your lady's life. Your family is falling into pieces on this side. There are variables and things that you can't control. But the key to success as a man in life is control the things that you can control.
Controlling controls.
Those things, exactly, control the controllables. If you have things that you can have an impact on, yeah, you can't control the accident that's gonna happen, but you can leave the house 15 minutes earlier than you leaving. So that way, if there is an accident, you got leeway to make up for it before you get to work. There are things that you can do different. One of the things that I started doing probably about 3-4 months ago, I just felt like very similar to you. I'm waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, not really getting started with my day until 9. Before I know it, it's already lunchtime. Day is over. I'm just feeling like I'm not having enough time. And I said, I need to start waking up earlier.
Yeah.
But what I knew is I'm not naturally a morning
Yeah.
person. So what I said was the little things. It's so
little
funny.
things,
I
yeah.
literally said to myself, well, let's do it bit by bit. So what I started doing was started setting that alarm. I started with setting that alarm at 7:45.
Yeah.
So the first alarm, and I'm dedicating myself. When this alarm goes off, you got to get up.
Got to get up.
You have to get up. You can't lay in bed. You have to say your prayer, and then you got to get out. Ask God when you say your prayer, God, get me up.
Yeah.
Get me out of this bed so I can get started. Because I find that when you speak to God about something, it affects you a different way. It
Yeah.
make you be like, man, I can't just sit here in front of God and not do what I'm supposed to
facts.
do. And then after I did that for a couple of days, I'm like, oh, 7:45 is easy. I moved it to 7:30. Then I moved it to 7:15. Now I'm at a point where my alarms go off at 6:15 and 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
By the time that 6:31 is up,
Yeah.
I should already be active and doing what I need to do. Starting on my morning routine. I have a morning routine, a daily morning routine that I do. I got to stretch. I have to listen to my audiobooks. I have to do a core exercise routine. I got to take my supplements and my vitamins for the day. I got to drink water. I have to meet a certain goal,
Yeah.
right? I have to go to the gym, hit the sauna. There are things that throughout the day I have a checklist for, and I literally keep a grid for every single day of the month, and I got to check it off. Because when I get to look back at my month, the months where it's a whole bunch of blank squares are months where I'm not as successful.
Yeah.
And the months where it looks really full, I always find that I feel way more fulfilled, way more accomplished, in that all the other areas of my life, I'm feeling very successful in those as well. The routine makes all the difference.
Man, absolutely. And one thing I'm gonna add to that is Mel Robbins talks about the 5-second rule. Right? It says when you feel like doing something, give yourself a countdown, and when you get to 1, make the decision. And the hardest part is waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
For me, it's when that initial wake up, right? It's so easy to go hit the alarm and then lay back down.
Yep.
Because then your whole circadian rhythm is off, and then you feel like even more tired the second go round.
Yep.
So when I'm in the bed and I'm laying down, I'm looking at the clock, I'm like, all right, man, 5, 4, 3, to get up.
Yep.
And you just have to get up,
Yep.
and you realize that you actually have more energy when you get up and you start focusing on the task versus focusing on going back to sleep.
Yeah. You know, I write in the book, man, there's a chapter in my book that's called Moving with Intention, right? And I talk about how the way you start your day sets the tone for the rest of your day.
100%.
If you wake up in your day and you're lackadaisical, you're letting the outside influences of the world already hit you. The first thing you do when you wake up, before you have any time to meditate your thoughts, before you talk to God, before you really collect yourself, is you go straight to the world and you open up your phone and you're looking at news, you're looking at social media, you're looking at everything going on. You are now a victim to whatever that stuff makes you feel.
100%.
You are not prepared. Your mind is a blank slate and you're throwing at it with whatever drama is going on in the world, whatever deaths are just happening in the world, whatever negativity is happening in the world. That isn't healthy. And it impacts the way that you're going to see your day as you go throughout it. But when you wake up intentionally, when you wake up saying, I got things to do.
Yep.
I got a mission to accomplish. I have tasks that I need to get done. I'm supposed to be obedient. I'm supposed to go to God first. That's why the very first thing I do when I wake up, I must pray.
Yeah.
I will naturally reach for that phone
Yeah.
and I put that thing right back down. No. We got to pray first. Then once I'm done talking to God and having my conversation for the day, I need to get up and get started on what I need to do and can then go to the world whenever I have already set certain things in order first.
That's absolutely amazing, brother. All right, let's go ahead and go to your first point.
Absolutely, man. So if you want to develop, the thing that you need to change is your community, right? The people that you hang around, the places that you go,
100%.
right? I'm telling you, there's something that I thought about when I was thinking of these notes. And it says, if the people around you all reflect your former version of yourself, then you will always be held back.
Yeah.
If the people that you hang around are versions of where you want to be, then you will always be pushed forward.
Yeah.
Right? I need you to evaluate your circles and ask, do these people resemble who I used to be, or do they resemble where I'm going?
It's good.
Because I'm telling you, as a man, those fellas that you hang around, the women that you hang around, you will succumb to how low they are, or you will rise to how high they are.
Mm-hmm.
You spend all your day around them. The places that they go, the things that they talk about, the way that you guys communicate with each other. If it's all a reminder of your former self, well, guess what you're going to have a tendency to want to do? Go back to those former things.
100%.
But when you have people around you that when you look at them, you're like, man, I every time I see him, he's focused.
Yep.
I got to get on my grind.
Yeah,
I got to
like
get more
him.
focused. Every time I see him, he in the gym. Every time I see him, he's eating healthy. Every time I see him, he's abstaining from different things in his life that are unhealthy. Right? He's going to God. He's speaking his mission and his purpose. When you see that every single day, it sets you on a track that says, I can't be the one in the group that's not on my stuff.
Facts.
So I got to elevate. I have to raise my standard to meet where everybody else is at. But if the people in the community that you're around hold you back, man, you're going to be a product of that community rather than the success story out of it.
That's good. So let me ask you this. A lot of people like to stick with the same community. So how many communities do you think a brother needs?
You need a community for every single area you're trying to succeed in. I really do, because some people are multifaceted, right?
Yeah.
You have people in your life that are doing pretty well in a lot of areas. Like I got some friends, they're really good in fitness. They're really good in their educational aspect. They're really good in business. I have some friends that are really good when it comes to God,
Yeah.
but they're not very good when it comes to focus on other things,
Yeah.
right? You got to have people for different types of things, and not everybody is great at every single thing.
Right.
And so for me, I focus on the group or the community that I'm having. I build it focused on what the goal is.
That's good.
So if I'm trying to get better with God, I got a group of 3 to 4 guys that I know when I go to speak about God, they're going to be open and willing to engage in the conversation. They're going to throw back their thoughts and opinions. They're going to reference the Bible. There are going to be times where they come to me and help me in the moments where I'm not thinking godly, when I'm not thinking on a righteous level, right? They're going to challenge me in those areas. I have the guys that are going to keep me accountable when it comes to my fitness. Man, I ain't seen you in the gym in a minute. What's up? Right? I have people that are going to hold me accountable in every area of life. And some people are good for certain areas and some people are good in other areas. But I make sure that I don't force somebody to be in an area where they're not capable of.
Yep.
Because you try and throw that person there and then you can't appreciate them for what they really bring to the table.
Yeah.
Right? You want them to be somebody that they're not prepared to be.
Yeah.
And then you let down and disappointed when they're not showing up the way that you want them to show up.
Yep.
They didn't ask for that. You projected that responsibility onto them and they didn't want it. Go to places and environments with people that are where you're on. They're on the path that you're on and they desire the same things. That's why I have a morning meetup, right? Because my mornings are so important.
Yeah.
So I go to Rex's morning meetup because I need to be around these guys that set my day on the right track because we're on the same goal.
That's amazing. And I'm glad you answered that question because our thoughts and our beliefs are definitely in alignment. So me personally, I have a group or community that absolutely love reading books, right? So we discuss new books, we discuss new topics, we discuss new perspectives. I have a group or community of married couples.
Yes.
Right. So if I need wisdom, if I need, I have a question. I can't go to my group of single friends.
Yes.
I can't go to my group of friends or the males that are still promiscuous.
Yep.
Because they're going to give me a different response, a different answer from their different perspectives. So I have community for that. And then when I was in my healing journey, I had a community for individuals that I could be emotionally attuned with.
Yep.
Because when you don't have access, don't feel like you have access to your emotions, you got to be around people that do have access to the emotions to learn what are the things that they're doing, what kind of conversation are they having to be able to have access to those type of things.
Yes.
So I have a community for that. And then, of course, you also have your community of gym people, right? You start going to the gym, you make it a routine, right? You start lifting weights, you start giving people head nods, and next thing you know, a couple of days later, you dapping them up.
Yep.
Next thing you know, oh, you need a spot?
Yep.
Next thing you know, like if you miss a day, they're looking out for you, and now you guys exchange contact information, and now they're looking for you.
Yep.
Hey, you hitting the gym today? What body part you hitting? So I have communities for everything, and a lot of times where people fall short, men fall short, women fall short, just humans. We like to stick with the same community that we grew up with. And that is not good, right? And it's okay to be loyal, because like I said, two more things can be loyal. Two more things can be true at once.
Yep.
It's okay to be loyal to your friend group, but also have an additional friend groups that helps you get to where you want to go.
Exactly.
So if you're not willing to step outside of your comfort zone, if you're not willing to venture off and get new friends, if you're not willing to put yourself in different environments, different communities to learn, to grow, to be stretched and to be challenged, then you may find yourself very stagnant and very comfortable.
Yes. I think people have to have a real self-analysis of the people in their life and start to place them where they're supposed to be.
Right.
Like, it's okay. I know that it's not the sweet fairy tale type of friendship thing that we hear growing up. Oh, you're going to be my friend for life. We're going to do everything together. No, you won't.
Right.
You won't do everything together, because everybody's not meant to go everywhere with you. Right? There is a journey that me and Rex are on this platform that me and him have to go together.
100%.
Right? And there's no other people that are on this journey that can do it with us, right?
Right.
Like, we have friends, we have family that can support us. We have our ladies that can give input. But at the end of the day, the rooms that we walk into, it's me and Rex.
Yep.
That's it. He's the person for this with me.
Yeah.
That's who I call when we have to make a decision on something.
Yeah.
I can seek counsel from other people, but at the end of the day, this is my guy.
Yep.
This is the friend group that's going to take this vision of developing men to the next level. And that's okay. And if we come across people that end up being a part of that journey, then that's also fine as well. We're open to that. But where we're at right now, it's us.
Yeah.
And I can't go to my homeboys that have no idea about content creation, have no idea about development of men, have no idea about how we can scale this. I can't go to them and try to include them in every single thing that we're doing. They have to be my homeboys for the situations that I need them for,
Yeah.
the situations that we align together with. And that's okay.
Yep. That's good.
Let me hear your point number 2.
That's
brother.
good. You have to be mindful. If you want to develop as a man, you have to be mindful of the things that you're consuming, right? So there's a lot of different parts to talk about. For one, it's the music that you're listening to. When I was going through my heartbreak and my transition in relationships, Rod Wave was
I
my
knew you was about
dog.
to say him, bro.
Rod Wave was my dog.
I got a funny story to say. Go
I'm
ahead.
talking about I'm every opportunity to listen to Rod Wave is the top of the morning, it's the end of the night, it's the end of transition between classes, and I felt every single thing that he was saying. But the only issue is when you listen to music that repeats negative messages, that repeats being heartbroken, that repeats not being able to trust women, that repeats being able to be promiscuous and go out and mess with as many women as possible, that then becomes your belief.
Yeah.
So you have to change what you consume. But before I go to the next thing, I want to hear what you was about to say.
Man, I'm laughing because literally last night, being a Rod Wave fan, I've been to a couple of his concerts. He comes across my TikTok feed from time to time.
Yeah.
So there was this trend going on where it's like top 5 Rod Wave songs, pick one, gotta go. Right? And I was listening to it and singing it out loud while I was on the phone with my lady. And she was just like, oh, here you go listening to that sad again. And I was like, you know what's funny? I haven't listened to Rod Wave in a minute. His songs just ain't been hitting for me recently. And I made a comment. I said, I think it's because it's the summer. When it becomes, a little bit colder weather, I'm down to hear that sad music. But
Man.
something about the summer and a bright sunny day don't mesh with talking about how depressed I am.
Man.
But, that is a joke at the end of the day, but it's very true because where you're at when you're listening to it is very important.
Yeah.
Because the reason why it's hitting you a certain way is because it's resonating with something that you're feeling.
Yeah.
And when you want to get out of it, when you make a conscious decision to say, okay, I am done feeling sorry for myself. I am done allowing depression to win over me. I am done allowing myself to be defeated and be a victim. Well, you can no longer go to spaces and things and consume things, music, that reinforces the belief that you're a victim, that reinforces the belief that you're depressed.
100%.
You have to go towards things that tell you that you're a winner. You have to go towards music that uplifts you. You have to go towards things that tells you to get up and go get it.
Yeah.
Right?
Got to.
Your consumption must change when your desires change.
100%. And I'm glad you said that because that leads me to point number 2.
Yeah.
Your conversations have to change.
Yeah.
Right? When you change the input, you can change the output.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm having a conversation every single day, and the only thing that we're talking about is gossip.
Yep.
Bro, you see so-and-so, you see so-and-so relationship, his chain probably fake. If I consume my time and my days talking about the negativities, and I can never focus on the positives.
Absolutely.
If I'm always consistently thinking about what I don't have, there's a quote that says, getting people to focus on what they lack keeps them stuck. So if I'm consistently focused on what I don't have, where I can't go, where I haven't been, the relationship I don't have, the lack of trust, if I continue talking about what I lack, I'm going to remain stuck. So once again, if you change the input, you can change the output. Same thing when it comes to the stuff you consume in your body.
Yes.
If you consistently eat fast food, you consistently eat sugars, you consistently put yourself in situations or soul food, you're either going to gain weight, you're going to get some type of disease, and you're going to pay for it later down the road.
Absolutely.
It's going to shorten your lifespan. If you start having kids, you may not have the energy to pour into them. It may affect your skin. It's going to affect your energy. It's going to affect the way you look and the way you feel about yourself.
Yes.
So you literally, if you want things to change, you have to be mindful of the things that you consume. And one thing I wrote, I says, music affects how you think and respond. Conversations affect how you feel and what you believe. And food affects your energy, your health, and your appearance.
Yeah.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Come on.
If you want to become better, you want to develop, you have to be mindful of what you're consuming. So I want you to think about this, and I want you to ask yourself this question. Out of my conversations that I'm having on a day-to-day basis, how many of them are productive? Right? Out of the things that I'm eating on a day-to-day basis, how many of those things are making me feel better? How many of those things are giving me regular bowel movements? How many of those things are helping me have the most energy? Right? Out of the music that I'm listening to, how much of those things are going to help me in my life or help me in my situation, make me feel better about my situation versus keeping me stuck and having me think about the past? I want you to do a self-analysis on these things because if you have checked off the boxes and every single thing in your life that you're consuming is negative, then it's time to consume something different if you want a different outcome.
I love that, man. That is so valuable. It's so valuable. And the more self-aware you are of that, the better off you'll be.
Yep.
I love that. Well, we're going to move to my point number 2.
Absolutely.
So my point number 2 is this. If you want to develop, you got to practice before the game. You know, when I was thinking about this was the point that took me a minute to figure out, like, community, you know what I'm saying? You got to do certain things. You got to have the right inputs in your life. And I knew you were going to bring those up. And I'm like, but really, what is it that allows you to tangibly change? And the thing is that, you can have a routine, right? Routines are good because they put things in order, right? They bring structure. But what about when it's time to act?
Yeah.
There has to be something that you've done when it's game time in order to prepare you for that moment.
Yep.
Because if I haven't practiced the exact action that I'm trying to get better at, when it's time for me to use it, I have nothing to go off of.
Man.
So I look at it like this. There are things that I want to get better at as a partner, being more selfless and caring, right? Because when you have played the field for so long and only had to care about yourself, it is a very difficult thing to then accommodate somebody else's feelings.
Yeah.
When you really don't want to, right? Like, my desires don't match with your desires. Why should I factor your desires over mine? And I said to myself, well, if you want to get better at this, you're going to have to start practicing it.
Yeah.
And the time to practice it is not going to be when your lady's in the middle of her feelings. It's too late then to try and act like you're going to be selfish and you haven't even practiced that. So I said, start practicing it with your mom and your sister. That's what I told myself. Start practicing it. And there was a circumstance that happened literally just this past weekend that kind of reflected to me like practice. Like
Yeah.
this is a sign of growth. We were going out that weekend. My sister was with me. We went to a spot. And immediately when we walked in, it was too crowded. It's too much going on in the environment. It was overstimulating. And my sister she didn't feel good there. Immediately, she was uncomfortable. She's like, Miles, I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it. And I said, you want to go? She said, yeah, I want to go. I said, all right, then we out. Right? Simple as day. I'm not going to factor anybody else's feelings or my own feelings over the fact that you don't feel good about this.
Yeah.
Right? It's time to go. In the past, I would have said, hey, you want to wait in the car?
Yeah.
I'll be out. Give me about an hour or so. Well, then we can head out.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and find every way to get what I still want out of it. And I guess trying to accommodate you. You see what I'm saying? I guess. Right? But that's not selfless. If I want to be selfless, I have to practice that. And I have to be serious about it. And so my intentionality has to be behind that. So I'm practicing in those moments. I want to be more courteous. Open the door every single time when you get to the car.
Yep.
Right? Of course, I'm open the big doors, but sometimes I think I just go straight to the car. What I'm walking on the other side of the car to open the car door for you. I ain't never had to do that before, but I'm doing it now. Well, if you want to be the type of man that really allows your woman to feel like you there for her, that she doesn't have to worry about a thing, that she can relax, she can be catered to, which is what I ultimately do desire, because I want her to trust me and I want her to look at me as a leader.
Yeah.
Well, then that means that I can't cut corners in any area of that. So the practice starts when I'm around my mom and I'm around my sister. Let me get that door for them.
Yeah.
Right? Let me go out of my way to make sure that they feel catered to. What do you need today? Is there anything I can do for you? Nah, mama, don't pick that up. I got it. Well, no, it's easy, Miles. I can get it. It's not that heavy. I said, I got it.
Yeah.
Show up and practice in the day-to-day things that you're doing. Sometimes you got to do that practice with random people. When you see that random lady, she walk into that door and she about to run up and grab that door for her.
Yeah.
Because if you can do it for a lady you barely know, you definitely can do it for a lady that you care about.
100%.
The practice starts now. You got to practice before the game gets here. That way, when the bright lights is on, nothing is too much for you to handle.
But that's facts. David Goggins said something when I went to watch him speak. He said, don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong. Right? So exactly what you said. The best time to focus on communication is when things are going good.
Yes.
The best time to focus on being selfless is when you have the opportunities around you. Right? The best time to focus on remaining faithful is when you're in your single season.
Yes.
There's so many men that say, oh, when I find the right person, I'm going to settle down. When I find the right person, I'm going to be faithful. When I find the right person, I'm going to let all this go. But if you haven't actively practiced telling yourself no, you haven't actively practiced denying your flesh, you haven't actively practiced turning down offers for sex, or offers to get somebody's number, or offers to hit the club and go get drunk. If you haven't actively practiced these things, if you haven't actively practiced being in a monogamous relationship because you live a polyamorous life as a single person, then it's hard for you to just transition it off a switch.
Yes.
So it has to be practiced. And I just want to applaud you for being mindful of those things. And I think that's one of the most important tips of this, because if you aren't practicing it beforehand, when you get to it, you're going to fail the test.
Absolutely. First off, thank you for that. And you're absolutely right. I had a conversation with my boy yesterday, and I ain't going to say who he was. So I ain't going to put him out there, but he know. But we were having a conversation just about, he's dealing with a lady, and they're in this weird space in between a relationship, but that's where it's headed.
Yeah.
Right? But there are certain things that he feels is going to get in the way of him actually ever committing towards marriage with this person. And my thing with him was this, bro, if you see that stuff now and they're deal breakers to you,
Yeah.
why are you wasting her time and your time?
Yeah.
And his whole thing is, well, it's not that serious yet, but you know where it's headed.
Yeah.
If I were to ask you, what's the next phase? He said, yeah, relationship. And if I were to ask you, how would you feel about your time being spent with this person for a year, 2, 3 years, and they're looking for something more serious? They want marriage now at this point. And you say, well, these deal breakers kind of exist. I can't do it. I don't think marriage is ever going to be on the table for us. And he's like, what? But we're not there yet. I said, but bro, that's selfish.
Yeah.
You want somebody to love you. What would you want them to do if they saw this now, before y'all even got into a serious relationship? You would want them to tell you the truth, right?
Yeah.
You would want for them to walk away if they know that they can't commit to long term. Because I know that you're not out here just doing it just to have fun. You're doing it because you care about this person and you like this person.
Yep.
If you got this deal breaker here, then you need to remove yourself if that is going to be something that gets in the way of the finish line.
Yep.
Because what is the point If you don't want marriage and the rest of your life with this person, what are you even going down the road of getting into a relationship with them for?
Facts.
When you get to a point to where you say, I can't marry this person, it's time to leave that person.
Yeah.
But you need to do it now. This is preparation.
Yeah.
Because if this isn't the person that God wants for you, but you play around with them and you string their feelings along, it's only going to set you on a cycle to where when things happen in the future and you come across the quote unquote right person,
Yeah.
that the same thing is going to happen. And don't be surprised when karma comes back and gets you too.
And it's going to happen more
Yep.
often than not.
Yep.
More often than not. So last thing I'll say before I go to my last point is truly practice before the game. If you want to be the spiritual head, you want to be a good husband, a good father, practice praying for yourself and covering your family now in prayer.
Yeah.
So when it's time for you to find your bride or your wife, it's easy to pray for her, right? There's so many couples that I talk to that don't even like praying out loud for each other. They feel uncomfortable with being that emotional or that vulnerable with each other to pray. I was like, but you guys have created a covenant with God and you don't even like to pray for each other out loud.
Yep.
So practice it before you get there. If you want to be more faithful in a relationship, practice having self-control within your singleness, right? If you want to become a better reader, if you want to become more intellectual, you want to add value to your content or to the people that are listening to you, practice reading.
Yeah.
Right? Practice speaking. Look at yourself in the mirror and talk. Miles is a motivational speaker. That's probably an area that I'm going to step into a little bit later. But right now, I'm sure he has different ways that he practices. He doesn't just go up there and give a good speech just off the wham, bam.
Absolutely.
It takes practice. It takes time. So that's what I say.
I love that, man. I want to hear your last point, man. Oh, is it on me?
No. It's on me, but.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to say it like this. This is one of those situations where even with motivational speaking, I practice every single day in the things that I watch.
Yeah.
Right? I watch movies. There are 1,000,001 messages in movies. One of my best things that I say in a speech, I bring up Star Wars. Right? There's another one I was thinking about today I'm going to use. I can't wait. But there's a couple of quotes I'm going to give y'all. One was like, never tell me the odds. Right? Something that Han Solo said whenever C-3PO was trying to tell him that they're going to die if they go through this particular mission. And Han Solo was like, never tell me the odds. Because Han Solo believed in himself. I can do anything, right? And I just think about that because so many people, they tell themselves the odds all the time.
Yep.
Right? They believe that they're going to be a part of the statistics. I can't do it. Look how many people are going for this opportunity. It's 100 people already going for it. How do I think that I'm going to be the one? I've never done this before. People are always counting the odds, right? But you see how right now I'm practicing? This is practice every day for when I'm on that stage.
Yeah.
I can give a motivational speech in this moment off of that one quote
Yeah.
about how you're not a statistic, about how
Yeah.
you should never accept the odds for whatever it tells you about yourself. But I'm constantly practicing for that moment.
Got to be.
In every single thing that I do, you got to embody it. And I think that goes into your third point. Because in order for you to really embody it, you got to do something.
You
What's
got to
that you got to
commit.
do?
Listen, point 3, fellas, if you want to develop as a man, you have to commit to being the absolute best version of yourself, no matter what it takes. In 2014, I created a slogan: sacrifice, commit, persevere, and repeat. Like, in order to get whatever you want, it's going to take sacrifices. I got to cut certain people off. I got to cut certain friends off.
Yeah.
I got to cut certain conversations off. I got to cut off my distractions, and I have to sacrifice those things, right?
Yep.
And then I have to commit to those sacrifices. I got to commit to my routine. I got to commit to having the right conversation. I got to commit to showing up for myself, because if I don't do it for myself, I can't do it for other people. And then when I persevere, right, and I accomplish that goal, the last piece of it is repeat. Because you're going to always get a new season. There's going to always be a new goal. There's going to always be a new milestone that you have to reach. And you have to sacrifice. You got to commit. You got to persevere. Then you have to repeat. You can't do anything different if nothing changes.
Yes.
Right? So I want you to commit to change. Commit to being the best version of yourself. Commit to not being like your father if you didn't have a good father. Commit to not being like your mother if you didn't have a good mother. Commit to not being a product of your environment. Commit to being the one that goes and gets your master's, goes and gets your doctorates. Commit to being the one that does the right things with your money and makes the right investments so you can set your family up. Right? Commit to being faithful when nobody else around you is being faithful. Commit to being having self-control when nobody around you is practicing self-control. Commit to being the one of one. Commit to being the man of God even when nobody around you has faith, because somebody is going to need it. And that's going to be a way that you can develop. If you aren't going to commit, then you're saying, I'm okay with being I'm okay with being below. I'm okay with not being the best. I'm okay with being a mediocre father. I'm okay
Yeah.
with being a mediocre husband. I'm okay with not giving my best. I'm okay with making C's, right? I'm okay with the average salary, even though inflation is going up and grocery prices are going up, and hell, we can barely afford certain things we have now. So I need you to commit. If you want to develop, I need you to commit to being the best version of yourself, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it sounds like, and no matter what it feels like.
I love that, bro. That's that kingdom man talking.
You
right
feel what
there.
I'm saying?
Hey, I'm on chapter 6. Rex put me on. Everybody need to go read the book. Be the one.
Be the one.
Right? And I'm going to tell you something. When you talk about commitment, people don't realize commitment is more than an action. It's a decision.
Yeah.
And when you commit to something, what you're saying is, I'm going to make the decision today, and then I'm going to make it again tomorrow. Then I'm going to make it again the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. I don't stop. The decision has been made, and it will continue to be made.
Yep.
Because the day you don't make the decision, you have failed your commitment.
Yeah.
And this is something that I was speaking on, I believe this was last week or the week before, when I was just talking about the fact that when you're going through your struggles in life and you're making changes, they don't just change and then stop, right? You have to consciously make that decision on a daily basis until it becomes habit.
Yeah.
Because once it becomes habit, it's a little bit easier. It starts to become something that your body just naturally wants to do because it expects that that's what you're going to do. But in order to develop that, some books say it takes 30 days. Some books say it takes 60, 90.
Yeah.
Some say it takes years.
Yeah.
Right? I know one thing. They say it takes 10,000 hours of doing anything
Wow.
to become an expert at it.
You feel me?
I know that. And I don't want to just have a habit. I want to be exceptional.
Yeah.
I want to be an expert. I want to own the atmosphere of whatever it is that I'm dealing with, whatever area I'm trying to master. And so for me, it's a conscious decision every single day. I don't care if you're playing an instrument. It's a conscious decision to pick up that instrument every day and get your time in, work your skills.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you are an athlete. Pick up that playbook. Go watch the film.
Yeah.
Get in that gym. Do the little things, man. The little things make all the difference.
Yeah.
As a man, I need you guys to know your divine position.
Yeah.
Okay? You want to be a leader. You call yourself the man. You call yourself the one. Or as everybody like to say today, you call yourself him. Well, what did it take to be him?
Oh, God.
Him is not just a position of glory. It's not just a position of praise. You got to work for that title.
Yeah.
Okay? You can call yourself it all you want. Other people don't start calling you that until the results show.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing that people forget. I can call myself whatever I want to be called. That don't make it true.
Yeah.
So what do your actions tell you about who you are?
Yeah.
What that bank account say,
Yeah.
right? What that job say? What does your wife, your girlfriend, your children, what do they say? What do the people that know you better than anyone say about you? That tells you who you really are.
Yeah.
And if you want it to be different, then you start by making the decision today to commit, and then you make the decision again, and you make the decision again, and you make it again.
Yeah. Last thing I'm going to say is this. My lady and I, we just started the 75 Hard Challenge, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. We just started 75 Hard. And one thing about 75 Hard is we're doing a 75 medium. Right?
Got you. Okay.
So we're doing one workout a day. We're reading 10 pages a day. We're journaling daily. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to be mindful of what you eat. You can't consume any alcohol. And that's the thing. But one thing about the 75 Hard is it makes you commit because if you skip a day, you have to start over.
Yep.
You have to start over. And if we approach life that way, then we could be so much better.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people, there's a man out there right now, you want to stop watching pornography, or you want to stop being so promiscuous, or you want to stop being so impulsive, or you want to stop betting because you got this betting addiction. So no matter how much money you win, you pour that money back into it.
Yep.
You have to commit to change. And if you fall, you have to keep going and doing the same thing you committed to doing versus falling and saying, I guess I failed. So I'm just down again.
Yep.
I can't do anything else because I didn't fail. No, you got to get yourself back up and you got to start over and you got to commit to doing it every single day. So every single day, it's a choice.
Absolutely.
That you choose. And I think these conversations, we become so passionate about it because I think I'm tired of seeing men that have greatness in them but don't do the work to bring it out of them. Right. Myron Golden says a quote that says, people don't change for 3 reasons. 1, they don't know how. 2, they don't believe that they can. Or 3, they are afraid to leave what's familiar.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself being in those areas, man, join the morning group.
Come on.
All you got to do is hit the link in the bio, join the morning group. It's a free group. If you have an issue with development, watch this podcast.
Yep.
You can start from episode 1 of 2021 and go to episode 34, and I promise you'll learn something.
Absolutely.
If you want to develop as a man, listen, make the decision that you want to commit and change, and don't go back at all.
I'll tell you something. There is no such thing as a soft launch to success.
Oh, God.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a soft launch to change. Okay. You know, I'll talk about my battle with pornography and masturbation. I tried so many ways to get around it. Right. All right. I'm going to try and only do it 3 times a week. Right. Every other day. And then from there, I'll work my way down and I'll do it, 2 times a week.
Yeah.
And then 1 time a week.
Yeah.
Ask me if doing that and trying to roll myself back
Man,
ever worked.
It don't.
It doesn't work, man. Because you got to understand that mentally, every single time you do this particular action, you're just reinforcing the pathway. You're reinforcing it. And you're not making it easier just because you're taking more time in between it. Every time you do it, you reinforce that pathway. You know how I learned that?
How's that?
It's because I just failed.
Yeah.
I just failed. I went 4 months and literally just, what was that, Saturday? First time in the last 4 months, the longest I ever gone in my life without doing it ever since I started masturbating.
Yeah.
I masturbated for the first time, right? And I knew then, even though things felt different, I knew then, all right, you got a choice.
Yep.
You can try and do I think you have a better control over this now. It doesn't control you the same way. See, that's what my former self
Yeah.
was speaking to me and telling me. You got control over it. You
Yeah.
went 4 months. You can do another
You're
4.
good.
No. I had another choice that said you can commit to saying, all right, cool. Day 1 starts now.
100%.
And we're not going to do it again.
100%.
This time we're not going to fail. Had to talk to my therapist and get down to the root of why did you do it, right?
Yeah.
Because I tried to run away from that.
Yeah.
And I had to face it. You was dealing with a lot of anxiety.
Yep.
And it got the best of you. And so all those other times when you were dealing with things, it was easier for you to say no. But this time it's a lot of stuff on your plate and it tipped the scales.
Yep.
And you gave yourself a lie and an excuse that you could be okay with so that you could do it.
100%.
So now what are you going to do about it?
Commit.
So start over.
Yeah.
And I'm deciding that this time it won't fail.
Yep.
And if I fail again, guess what? I'm going to do the same thing
start
over and over and over again. I'm going to make a decision.
Yeah.
Change. What I do know is that I have changed.
Yeah.
What I do know is, yes, I do have more power over it. But that doesn't give me the right to then walk the line.
Yeah.
I must do the right thing. And when I mess up, I got to do it again.
Yep. And one thing that he said, that he just said that stood out the most, that his therapist said, let's get to the root of why you did it.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself falling, but you get back up and do the same thing over again, you're not getting to the root. You're going to fail again.
Absolutely.
But if you find yourself falling, you get to the root and say, okay, let's reevaluate. Why did I fail? And you say, okay, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety. I was dealing with a lot of pressure. Okay, if I want a different result, what will I do the next time I'm dealing with anxiety, dealing with pressure? Okay, this time I isolated myself. I wasn't connected to my friends. I didn't reach out to the morning meetup that morning. Whatever I was doing, I have to do something completely different.
Yes.
Right? So once again, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Absolutely. And that leads directly into my last point. Just because, like I said, there's no soft launch, right, on change, you got to leap.
Yeah.
You want to develop, I need you to leap. I need you to step out on faith, right? Because the areas that you're in right now, they keep you comfortable.
Yeah.
They keep you stagnant. They keep you stuck. So I need you to leap. One thing that people want to do is they want to change in the same environment that put them down in the first place. You know how difficult that is, right? I'm not saying it's impossible, but you are a human. And if it were that simple, you would have done it by now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be struggling with this change the way you are if you could change in the same environments that brought you to where you were. You need to leap. You need to leave the city, right? If that city has made you comfortable and it's all you ever known, but you feel this calling that, man, I need to go. You need to do like Rex did. You need to pack up everything, even if you don't know the money, how that's going to work out. Even if you don't know where you're going to stay, get up and go. Make the move and see where his life is at now. He's a totally different person. You have to leap, man. You got to step out on faith, man. Sometimes you got to go pursue that new passion, that new purpose, even if you don't know where to start. Well, I don't have the best camera equipment to record this stuff, and I don't know how it's going to work out, and nobody might follow me or engage. I told Rex that I had my own fears about things that were going on. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm ready. What if people don't join it? What if people don't book me? What if people don't accept me? He said, that's fear.
Yeah.
He said, you got to be obedient.
Yeah.
And obedience is all about stepping out on faith because you are going to have doubts every single day. And you got to sit there and say, God told me to do this. Lord, you gave me an instruction,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do what you told me to do. I've been instructed to carry out a task, and I'm going to do it in the face of whatever doubts, in the face of whatever fears, in the face of whatever rejection I may face. And look at where we are now.
Man, I'm telling you, God is good, and He'll never put you in a bad position. The same God that gave you the business plan, the same God is going to give you the clients. The same God that gave you the book idea in the chapter, the same God's going to get you the buyers.
Yep.
The same God that put you in position to work on yourself is the same God that's going to make sure you get through it. You going to change that?
Nah, go ahead.
Okay, bet.
But you're right, though. You know, obstacles arise. We're the ones that run to them, not away from them.
Yep.
Right? That when we face our doubts, we pour onto them with our love and faith in God.
Yep.
How can we be those type of men that we've been called to be if we always try to slow roll everything? If we
Okay.
always try to tiptoe around, you got to be bold. You got to be courageous. I'm not even going to say fearless. I don't think it necessarily exists to be fearless. You can't be a courageous person if you don't have fear.
Yeah.
I need you to be courageous. I need men, if you want to develop, to ask God for a spirit of courage, that when you are afraid that you act in spite of the fear.
Yep.
Right? You let that fear be there and you tell it. You know, you said 5 seconds. I've always been living by this quote that it only takes 3 seconds of bravery to do anything in life.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is that you can think of, because everything else after that moment takes its own life, right? Let's say, to speak to that girl, right? You see her and you know you want to say something. All it takes is 3 seconds, walking up and saying hello. After that, the conversation will take whatever route that it takes. And all the bravery, the fear, it goes away because you're here now.
Yep.
I just think about pledging. When you're here, you're here.
Yeah, I'm good.
We here now. I don't know what,
Yeah.
when, where, how, but we're here now.
Yeah.
The fear is everything leading up to it. And I think that that's the thing that we have to remember in life is God wants you to operate in spite of that fear. He wants you to be courageous. He wants you to leap. Be bold and be brave if you really want to develop.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, brother, is you can't overcome fear by overthinking. You overcome fear by doing.
Love it, bro. That's real.
Yep.
I love that. Well, we're going to move on to our Let's Talk letter, man.
Yes, sir.
Super excited for this one. This is a good submission. So, fellas, first off, as you know, share, like, subscribe, everything that you heard, because we know the fellas need to hear this type of information. Send it to the people that you care about, because we all have development that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move on to our Let's Talk letter. If you have something that you want to submit, send it over to us.
Yeah.
Rex, we're going to do a speed round, so I only want you to answer this, and then
Okay.
we're going to move out. All right, so cool. This one says he's sleeping with multiple women while only pursuing one woman romantically. So she says she's been dating this guy and they've been having an incredible connection. They can talk for hours and have had a few amazing dates. He's been honest with her from the start that he is sleeping with other women, and she somehow thought that she could change or that they would change after they hooked up, but it hasn't changed. She says she got hurt, so we talked about it, and he explained that he can date multiple people when the main focus is sex, but the romantic sort of dating he can only have with one person. That's pretty difficult for me to understand because I can only focus on that one person when the connection is amazing. This is my question. Is this a guy thing? Is it possible for you to date multiple people at once while only pursuing one romantic relationship? Or am I being naive and he's keeping his options open and playing the field? I feel like he was very honest with me every time we talked about it, but I'm struggling to fathom this. Any advice would be appreciated.
Man, first thing first, that's not a relationship you should be in, right? I was that guy. I was that guy thinking that I could pour into multiple women but find something that was going to be intentional about. I was the guy that thought that I could still have enough for me, even though I was giving everything I had to everybody else. I was that guy that thought that I could separate business and pleasure, right? But when it boils down to it, no, what you do in the pregame is going to determine what you do during the game.
Yeah.
Right. So if you are a man in that situation and you're looking for something intentional, but you're still entertaining or still having sex with multiple women, then you're not ready for a relationship, right? Because once again, just because you think that there's a switch that you can flip once you have into a relationship, that's not going to happen. That same desire that you had, that same sexual appetite that you have built and created for yourself, it's still going to be there, especially if the person that you decided to commit to isn't on the same type of freak time that the other young ladies that was on. So you're going to desire that more. So if you're a guy in that position, for one, I want you to ask yourself, why do I even want all this? What is it doing for me? Is it making me feel good about myself? Is it making me feel like I'm more of a man? Is it giving me cool points from the guys? Or is it the fact that I don't have the self-control that I want? You got to ask yourself these questions. And then you got to ask yourself, well, how is this going to affect the person that I'm talking to, and how is it going to affect my behaviors in my relationship? How am I going to be able to control this once I'm in a relationship and maybe she's not as active as my last partners were?
Exactly.
Got to ask yourself these questions. Then you got to also, I always go to the root. What's the root cause for me to want to entertain all of these women?
Yes.
Right? You always got to get to the root. There's always something that's there, right? There's sometimes, people go through things just because it's the cool thing. It's an environment thing. But at the end of the day, got to get to the root. And if for the information for that young lady is to leave that relationship, know that's not a guy thing, because women can have that same mentality as well. But if you know you want to be a husband, you know you want to be a wife, you know you're looking for something intentional, you align yourself with people that are looking for the same things. Because if you go into something expecting somebody to be who you want them to be and not who they show you that you are, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
I love that, bro. You hit everything on the head, man. That's our letter. If you have submissions, make sure you hit the link in our bio and send in. It's a simple Google form you can fill out.
Yeah.
We're going to close out, guys. I just want to tell y'all, if you struggle with that or any of the circumstances that we've talked about today, we have services that we provide that can help you.
Yep.
Right? I want to also, first off, start by recommending Rex's Morning Meetup. Go on his platform. You will see it in his bio. Join it, fellas. If you need help with development, this will put you on the right path. Secondly, if you're looking for life coaching to help you through your problems in relationships, to help you with your goal setting and the planning for where you're going in life, you can reach out to me. I'm on the app Fellow, and from there we can book an appointment and see what you need and how we can help you. If you're a teacher, an educator, if you're in any type of environment that deals with students or staff, I want to help you with your leadership development. I want to help you with student empowerment. I want to help you with their mental health and their behaviors. Reach out to me. You can go on my website, milesthemillennial.com, and send me a booking form. And from there, we can get on a call and see what you need. Rex, what do you got for the people?
Absolutely. Once again, my name is Rex Howard Jr., the relationship and sex therapist, also personal development coach. If you're looking for a coach or a counselor to help you work through trauma, help you work through relationships, to help you work through family conflict, to help you work through your anxiety, your depression, or just personal development issues, or even emotional intelligence, go to resolvecc.com and book a session. If you want to join my morning meetup because you just need extra accountability in mornings, every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. for 20 minutes, we link up, we have accountability, we have prayer. So all you got to do is go to Instagram at I am Rex Howard Jr., click the link in my bio, and it says, join the morning meetup. Also, you see what's on my chest, right? Hey, unreleased drip. Try therapy, not me. Listen, if you're interested in having some cool gear to wear this summer, this winter.
It's about to get cold.
This winter. Stay tuned because we got some really major things releasing very soon. And then also follow us on every single platform at Let's Talk Like Men Podcast. If you enjoy the conversation, if you want more of the conversation, and you want an opportunity to work with us, go to the link in our bio at Let's Talk Like Men Podcast and click Connect More. Or just how to connect with us, and just put in your email, answer the first question that's on there, and we'll get back with you.
All right, guys. This has been an amazing episode. Fellas, we're looking forward to watching the development that takes place. Tell us some of your tips. Get in the comments ways that you've changed throughout life, so that way we can see a change in the community altogether.
Yeah.
We're Let's Talk Like Men, and we're out.
See y'all next week.
Peace.